John Berman. Now, as you heard there, the ceasefire deal raised the hopes of millions of civilians caught in the conflict. Its delay, of course, is causing much concern, and pressure continues to build on Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, pressure on him to get the hostages home. Dr. Ran Porat is an affiliate researcher at the Australian Centre for Jewish Civilization at Monash University, and he joins me now. Doctor, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Sarah.
Why is this hostage ceasefire deal so important for Benjamin Netanyahu?
I think the question is, why is it so important for Israel, especially after the horrible massacre of October 7th by Hamas? And that is because the Israeli society is very well known for its sensitivity towards the releasing of captives. It's actually, if you look in the Bible, it's coming from there. And the deal is so important because there's lots of pressure, public pressure, not only on Netanyahu personally, but most on the government to free these people that are being kept, especially children. So it's not only Netanyahu personally, and I don't think it will make or break his political future, which is completely in the doubt now, in trouble now.
That's interesting. You don't think it will make or break because he's in too much trouble already?
Yes. Yeah. Because again, he's being accused by even people that were previous supporters of him of responsibility of not only cultivating Hamas over the 16 years in reign on and off over the last 2 decades, but also for the huge division that he and his government has caused since the beginning of this year when they introduced a very controversial judicial overhaul, which was, and then these internal divisions were considered or understood as weakness by the enemies of Israel, Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas, and that may have been related to the timing of that horrible attack on Israel.
It won't save his career, so to speak, as we just said there, but this delay, does that add to some of the criticism he's getting?
It adds to the anxiousness and the sorrow and the fear and the anger in the general public, that they feel that the government in general, Netanyahu personally, but more generally the Israeli government, maybe consecutive Israeli governments, have broken the basic agreement between the citizen and their country to protect them. So it's not only Netanyahu personally, but everybody understands this is a technical sort of a delay. Hopefully everything will come to pass, and by tomorrow first hostages will be released. And we also know that on the other side, the Hamas is not a state. It's not a credible organization. Often and a lot they lie. So everything they say or they promise has to be checked doubled and over time and again and again. So these technical delays are understandable, but although infuriating, it just takes a few more hours, I guess.
Israel obviously has been waiting to get its hostages back. What was the reaction in Israel when the deal was first announced that 50 were coming?
It wasn't happiness, of course. It was some families felt relief. I remind you, 30 kids, including a 10-year-old baby, are held in Gaza in the worst possible conditions. So it was not relief. I would say just a bit of a sweet-sour reaction. It's also divided it may have divided the families of the hostages, of the people that were taken hostage, because men and soldiers are left behind. And Hamas is given also a lot of power to determine the timing of the release of these people, if at all. So it's a very, very hard deal to make. I think it takes a lot of courage and leadership to actually do it, but I don't see any government not signing on such a deal to release hostages. That's not acceptable in Israeli frame of mind.
Do you think in Israel there are people who want to see the government continue its military operation in Gaza, and then there are the ones who think the focus should be on getting the hostages back, or is everyone on the same page?
Everyone is on the same page with regards to the need to dismantle this ISIS-like threat to this Hamas. The question is, what do you do first? And the debate is not whether should Israel stop the military campaign, but whether should the military campaign aim to first and foremost release the captives, and then dismantle Hamas, or the other way around. And circumstances have dictated so far that it has to focus on pressuring Hamas by attacking them very fiercely. I remind you, the Israeli, militarily speaking, the Israeli campaign is very, very successful and very, very high-tech and all that. So I don't think there is a debate. The fear is actually in Israel that the ceasefire will continue on, and Israel will not be able to regain the campaign after it. And Hamas will stay put. And that will be, from an Arab point of view, a sort of victory. And that is not what Israel wants.
Do you think they're, having seen not this situation ever before, of course, but similar situations with hostage scenarios, do you think those who are not involved in this initial 50 would be hopeful that they will be able to go home soon?
Hopeful, yes, but also I have no doubt that they're realistic, because Hamas has no interest in releasing these people quickly. The Hamas's interest is to prolong the ceasefire as long as possible, to maintain or to regain, to collect them, to regroup, to send their people for even the food and the basic needs that they were possibly denied of during the attacks. Nobody's kidding themselves that the Hamas will become a humanitarian all of a sudden. We know these people. We know how they are war criminals, and they only care about their own interests. They don't see logic the way the West does. So there is hope for the release, but it will take, I think, weeks and weeks from now.
Are we seeing a fracturing in that coalition that Israel has in place now? It's a right-wing coalition that Netanyahu is part of as leader. Are we seeing the fractures emerge, and will that come to some sort of head before the conflict's over, or will we see it really blow up after that?
We see fractures. They're quite minimal, and they don't carry enough energy in them, I would say, to break down the government now, especially now there's an emergency government with centrist Benny Gantz and Gadi Eisenkot inside the government. But definitely fractures from the right. It's extremist Itamar Ben-Gvir, and inside the Likud, which is Netanyahu's government, we see party. We see also people looking into maybe taking him down at some point. But I think it will come to possibly more of an issue when the campaign is or at least reaching an end, not now. It will take. It's not going to happen now.
Not now, but something to watch in the future for sure. Thank you very much for your time today, Doctor.
Thank you, Sarah.
Dr. Ran Porat there, an affiliate researcher at the Australian Centre for Jewish Civilization at Monash University.